Deathworlder Cadets arrive at Galactic Academy. In the vast expanse of the Orion Arm, the Galactic Military Academy floated like a shimmering jewel against the backdrop of countless stars. This prestigious institution, known for training the finest military minds from across the galaxy, was abuzz with anticipation as a new class of cadets prepared to embark on their journey to become the next generation of leaders and defenders. Among the diverse array of species represented in the incoming class, a small group of humans stood out like sore thumbs. These Deathworlders, as they were known, hailed from Earth, a planet notorious for its harsh conditions and the resilience of its inhabitants. The human cadets, with their soft, fleshy bodies and lack of natural armor or weapons, seemed woefully out of place among their alien peers. As the cadets filed into the Grand Assembly Hall for their orientation, whispers and murmurs rippled through the crowd. The alien cadets, with their varied forms and features, eyed the humans with a mix of curiosity, apprehension, and in some cases, disdain. The humans, for their part, stood tall and proud, their eyes gleaming with determination and a hint of nervousness. From the podium, Commandant Zorax, a towering insectoid with iridescent green exoskeleton, addressed the gathered cadets. "Welcome to the Galactic Military Academy," he buzzed, his mandibles clicking with each word. "You have been selected from the best and brightest of your respective species to train here and become the future protectors of our galactic civilization." As Zorax continued his speech, extolling the virtues of the Academy and the challenges that lay ahead, the human cadets couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and excitement. They had dreamed of this moment, of proving themselves on a galactic stage, and now they were here, ready to face whatever trials and tribulations the Academy had in store. However, the humans quickly realized that their path would be far from easy. As they settled into their new living quarters, they found themselves faced with a host of challenges. The gravity on the Academy station was higher than Earth's, making even simple tasks like walking and lifting objects a strain on their bodies. The food, tailored to the nutritional needs of various alien species, was often unpalatable or even dangerous for human consumption. In the classroom, the human cadets struggled to keep up with their alien peers. The advanced technologies and scientific concepts were often beyond their comprehension, having come from a planet still in its relative infancy compared to the rest of the galaxy. The instructors, while not overtly hostile, seemed to have little patience for the human struggles and were quick to dismiss their potential. Despite these initial setbacks, the human cadets refused to give up. They banded together, supporting one another through the difficult times. They spent long hours in the gym, training their bodies to adapt to the increased gravity. They pored over textbooks and scientific journals, determined to bridge the gap in their knowledge. As the weeks turned into months, the human cadets slowly began to make progress. Their physical strength and endurance improved, allowing them to keep pace with their alien counterparts in training exercises. They absorbed knowledge at an astonishing rate, their minds expanding to grasp the complex concepts that had once seemed insurmountable. Their determination and work ethic did not go unnoticed by their instructors and fellow cadets. Some began to see the humans in a new light, admiring their tenacity and resourcefulness. Others, however, remained skeptical, convinced that the Deathworlders would never truly belong at the Academy. As the first year of training drew to a close, the human cadets faced their greatest challenge yet, the infamous 3-day battle simulation. This grueling test was designed to push cadets to their limits, both physically and mentally, and was known for breaking even the most promising of candidates. Whispers spread through the Academy about the humans' chances of success. Many believed they would be lucky to survive the first day, let alone complete the entire simulation. The human cadets, however, were undeterred. They had come too far to back down now. As they stepped into the simulation chamber, the humans steeled themselves for the trials ahead. They knew that the eyes of the entire Academy were upon them, and that this was their chance to prove once and for all that Deathworlders had a place among the stars. With a deep breath and a nod to one another, the human cadets readied their weapons and faced the unknown, determined to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. The infamous 3-day battle simulation. As the human cadets stepped into the simulation chamber, they were greeted by a sight that would have made even the most seasoned warrior hesitate. The chamber had transformed into a sprawling, war-torn cityscape, complete with crumbling buildings, dead-strewn streets, and the distant sounds of explosions and gunfire. The objective of the simulation was simple, yet daunting. Survive for 3 days while defending a series of strategic points from an onslaught of enemy forces. The catch: the enemy forces were controlled by a highly advanced AI, designed to adapt and learn from the cadets' tactics. As the simulation began, the human cadets quickly realized that they were in for the fight of their lives. The AI-controlled enemies were relentless, attacking with a ferocity and precision that seemed almost inhuman. The cadets were forced to think on their feet, adapting their strategies on the fly as they struggled to hold their ground. In the observation room, a group of alien generals watched the proceedings with a mix of fascination and skepticism. Many had doubted the humans' ability to even complete the simulation, let alone excel in it. As the minutes ticked by, however, a murmur of surprise began to ripple through the room. The human cadets were not only holding their own, but were actually pushing back against the enemy forces. Their tactics were unconventional, to say the least. They used the environment to their advantage, setting traps and ambushes in the rubble-strewn streets. They worked together seamlessly, covering each other's backs and communicating with a level of efficiency that belied their short time together. As the first day of the simulation drew to a close, the human cadets had not only survived, but had managed to secure several key strategic points. The generals in the observation room were stunned. No group of cadets had ever performed so well on their first day. On the second day, the AI-controlled enemies upped their game, adapting to the humans' tactics and pressing their advantage. The cadets were forced to dig deep, pushing themselves to their limits as they fought tooth and nail to hold their ground. It was during this second day that the human cadets truly began to shine. They displayed a level of ingenuity and resourcefulness that left even the most experienced generals in awe. They hacked into the enemy's communication systems, using their own tactics against them. They repurposed captured enemy technology, turning it into makeshift weapons and defenses. By the end of the second day, the human cadets had not only held their ground but had actually expanded their territory, securing several more strategic points. The generals in the observation room were now openly gaping, their disbelief giving way to a grudging respect for the Deathworlder's abilities. On the third and final day of the simulation, the AI-controlled enemies launched an all-out assault, throwing everything they had at the human cadets. The cadets, exhausted and battered but still determined, met the assault head-on. What followed was a battle that would go down in Academy legend. The human cadets fought with a ferocity and tenacity that defied belief, their wills unbreakable even in the face of overwhelming odds. They adapted, improvised, and overcame, using every trick in their arsenal to beat back the enemy forces. As the final minutes of the simulation ticked down, the human cadets made their boldest move yet. In a daring raid, they infiltrated the enemy's command center, disabling their AI and effectively ending the battle. When the simulation finally ended, the human cadets emerged victorious, having not only survived, but having conquered the notorious 3-day battle simulation in a mere 15 minutes on the final day. The alien generals in the observation room were stunned into silence, their jaws slack with disbelief. News of the humans' achievement spread like wildfire through the Academy and beyond. Overnight, the once dismissed Deathworlders became the talk of the galaxy, their prowess and potential now undeniable. For the human cadets, the victory was a sweet one, a validation of all their hard work and sacrifice. They had proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they belonged at the Galactic Military Academy, that they had something valuable to offer the galaxy. As they basked in the glow of their triumph, however, the human cadets knew that their journey was far from over. They had won a major battle, But the war for respect and recognition was just beginning. With steely determination and unbreakable spirits, they readied themselves for the challenges ahead, knowing that whatever the galaxy threw at them, they would face it head-on and emerge stronger for it. The legend of the Deathworlder Cadets had only just begun. Repercussions and reactions. The shock waves from the human cadets' unprecedented victory in the battle simulation reverberated throughout the Galactic Military Academy and beyond. As news of their feats spread, reactions ranged from awe and admiration to skepticism and even outright hostility. In the halls of the Academy, the human cadets found themselves the subjects of intense scrutiny and whispered conversations. Some of their alien peers, impressed by their performance, began to approach them with newfound respect, eager to learn from and collaborate with the Deathworlders. Others, however, viewed the human success with envy and resentment, their pride wounded by the upstart cadets from a backwater planet. The Academy's instructors and military leadership were equally divided in their opinions. Some saw the humans as a valuable asset, their unconventional thinking and adaptability a potential game-changer in the face of new and evolving threats to the galaxy. Others, however, viewed the humans with suspicion, fearing that their unpredictable nature and unorthodox methods could disrupt the established order. In the wider galaxy, the news of the humans' achievements sparked a firestorm of debate and speculation. Some saw it as a sign of hope, an indication that even the most underestimated and overlooked species had the potential for greatness. Others viewed it as a threat, a warning that the balance of power in the galaxy was shifting in unpredictable ways. For the human cadets themselves, the aftermath of their victory was a time of both triumph and challenge. On one hand, they had proven themselves beyond doubt, earning the respect and admiration of many. On the other hand, they now faced even greater expectations and pressures, with all eyes in the galaxy watching their every move. As they navigated this new landscape of attention and scrutiny, the human cadets leaned on each other for support and guidance. They knew that they had each other's backs, no matter what challenges lay ahead. One such challenge came in the form of a formal inquiry launched by the Academy's leadership into the humans' performance in the battle simulation. Some of the more traditionalist elements within the military hierarchy, threatened by the humans' unorthodox methods and thinking, sought to discredit their achievement, arguing that they had somehow cheated or taken unfair advantage. The human cadets, however, faced the inquiry with the same determination and integrity that had carried them through the simulation. They provided detailed accounts of their strategies and decision-making processes, demonstrating that their success had been the result of skill, adaptability, and teamwork, not deceit or trickery. As the inquiry unfolded, support for the humans began to grow within the Academy and beyond. Many came to see the investigation as a witch hunt, an attempt by the old guard to suppress the rise of a new generation of leaders and innovators. In the end, the human cadets were fully exonerated, their victory in the battle simulation officially recognized and celebrated. The inquiry, far from discrediting them, had only served to cement their status as rising stars within the Galactic Military Academy. As the dust settled, the human cadets found themselves in high demand, with instructors and military leaders alike seeking their input and collaboration on a range of projects and initiatives. They were held up as examples to their peers, their achievements a rallying cry for all those who sought to break the mold and push the boundaries of what was possible. For the human cadets, it was a heady and sometimes overwhelming experience. They had come to the Academy as outsiders, dismissed and underestimated by many. Now they were the Academy's brightest hope, the trailblazers charting a new course for the future of the galaxy. As they looked to the horizon and the challenges that lay ahead, the human cadets knew that their journey was far from over. They had proven themselves in the crucible of the battle simulation, but that had only been the beginning. With the eyes of the galaxy upon them, they readied themselves for the next stage of their adventure, knowing that whatever trials and tribulations lay ahead, they would face them together, united by the unbreakable bond of their shared humanity and their unwavering determination to make their mark on the cosmos. The legend of the Deathworlder Cadets was only just beginning to unfold. New challenges and growth. In the wake of their triumphant performance in the battle simulation and the subsequent inquiry, the human cadets found themselves thrust into a new realm of challenges and opportunities at the Galactic Military Academy. With their potential now widely recognized, they were given access to advanced training programs and resources previously reserved for only the most promising of alien cadets. The humans threw themselves into their studies with characteristic determination and enthusiasm, eager to expand their knowledge and hone their skills. They delved into advanced tactics and strategy, xenobiology, and interspecies diplomacy, pushing themselves to the limits of their abilities and beyond. As they progressed through their training, the human cadets began to specialize in different areas, each finding their own unique niche within the Academy's diverse curriculum. Some focused on ground combat tactics, others on space-based warfare. Some delved into the intricacies of alien technology, while others honed their skills in leadership and command. Despite their individual pursuits, the human cadets remained a tightly knit group, their bond forged in the crucible of shared challenges and triumphs. They supported and pushed each other, celebrating each other's successes and picking each other up in moments of doubt or setback. Their camaraderie and unity, however, did not go unnoticed by all at the Academy. Some of their alien peers, still resentful of the humans' rapid rise and growing influence, began to view their closeness with suspicion and even hostility. Tensions came to a head during a live-fire training exercise deep in the Academy's combat simulation deck. The human cadets, working seamlessly as a team, were pushing through the objectives with their usual skill and efficiency. Unknown to them, however, a group of disgruntled alien cadets had hacked into the simulation's control systems, intent on sabotaging the humans' performance and discrediting them in front of the Academy's leadership. As the humans approached a critical juncture in the simulation, the saboteurs struck. They manipulated the simulation's parameters, causing a massive explosion that ripped through the combat deck, engulfing the human cadets in a maelstrom of fire and debris. For a moment, the Academy's observation deck was silent, the onlookers stunned by the sudden and devastating turn of events. Then, as the smoke began to clear, a cheer erupted from the assembled instructors and cadets. Against all odds, the human cadets emerged from the wreckage, battered and bloody but unbroken. Through quick thinking and improvisation, they had managed to shield themselves from the worst of the blast, using their environment and equipment in ways the simulation's designers had never anticipated. The saboteurs, watching in disbelief as their plan unraveled, were quickly apprehended by Academy security. An investigation was launched, and the full extent of their actions came to light. The Academy's leadership, already impressed by the humans' performance under such extreme circumstances, were further moved by their response to the betrayal. Rather than demanding retribution or using the incident to further their own standing, the human cadets called for understanding and reconciliation. In a powerful display of leadership and diplomacy, the human cadets met with the saboteurs and their supporters, seeking to understand the root causes of their actions. They listened to their grievances and concerns, acknowledged the challenges and prejudices that many alien cadets faced, and worked to find common ground and build bridges of understanding. Their actions, marked by empathy and wisdom beyond their years, sent ripples throughout the Academy and beyond. The incident, rather than dividing the Academy along species lines, became a catalyst for unity and change. Under the human cadets' influence, the Academy began to implement new policies and programs aimed at fostering greater understanding and cooperation between species. Cross-cultural exchange initiatives were launched, joint training exercises were held, and a new ethos of inclusivity and mutual respect began to take hold. As the human cadets continued to rise through the ranks, their reputation as not just skilled warriors, but also as leaders and diplomats grew. They were seen as a new kind of soldier, one who could not only fight with unmatched skill and determination, but also think critically, adapt to new challenges, and bridge divides between disparate peoples and cultures. And as the galaxy watched, The legend of the Deathworlder Cadets continued to grow, their story becoming one not just of individual achievement, but of the power of unity, understanding, and the unbreakable human spirit. Little did they know, however, that their greatest challenge was yet to come, a trial that would put all of their skills and resolve to the ultimate test. A real galactic threat emerges. Just as the human cadets were settling into their new roles as leaders and change-makers at the Galactic Military Academy, a dire message arrived from the fringes of known space. A previously unknown alien race, the Zorgans, had launched a sudden and brutal attack on a remote colony world, leaving the settlement in ruins and its inhabitants scattered or dead. The news sent shockwaves through the galactic community. The Zorgans, it seemed, were a warrior race of unmatched ferocity, their technology advanced, and their tactics ruthless. Eyewitness accounts spoke of towering beast-like creatures wielding weapons of terrifying power, cutting through colonial defenses like a scythe through wheat. As the galaxy reeled from the attack, the Galactic Military Academy found itself at the center of the response efforts. Its leadership, faced with a threat unlike any they had encountered before, scrambled to gather intelligence and develop a plan of action. In the midst of the chaos and uncertainty, the human cadets stood out as a beacon of calm and determination. While many of their alien peers succumbed to fear and despair, the humans remained focused and resolute, their training and experiences having prepared them for just such a moment. As the Academy's leadership debated and dithered, the human cadets took action. They volunteered to join the front lines of the defense efforts, arguing that their unique skills and perspectives could be invaluable in the fight against the Zorgans. Many in the Academy's leadership were hesitant to send the humans into harm's way, fearing the political and moral fallout should they be lost. But the human cadets were insistent, and their arguments compelling. They were not just soldiers, they argued, but representatives of a new kind of galactic unity and cooperation. Their presence on the battlefield would send a powerful message to both the Zorgans and the rest of the galaxy. In the end, the Academy's leadership relented, and the human cadets were deployed to the front lines alongside the galaxy's most elite warriors. They were given access to the most advanced weapons and technology the Academy had to offer, and tasked with a mission of the utmost importance: to push back the Zorgan advance and protect the innocent lives in their path. As the human cadets stepped onto the transport ship that would carry them to their destiny, they did so with a mix of trepidation and determination. They knew that the odds were stacked against them, that they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before, but they also knew that they carried with them the hopes and dreams of an entire galaxy, that their actions in the coming days could shape the course of history. As the ship lifted off and set course for the distant battlefront, the human cadets stood together, united in their resolve. They had come so far, overcome so much, to reach this moment. And now, as the galaxy held its breath, and the Zorgan menace loomed, they knew that their true test was about to begin. On the planet's surface, the scene was one of chaos and devastation. The Zorgans had laid waste to the colony's defenses, their advanced weapons cutting through shields and armor like paper. The colonists, those who had survived the initial onslaught, were scattered and disorganized, their spirits broken by the sheer savagery of the attack. But as the human cadets landed and took stock of the situation, they saw not despair, but opportunity. They saw in the colonists' eyes a flicker of hope, a glimmer of the defiance and resilience that had carried humanity through its darkest hours. And so, with a roar of determination and a surge of adrenaline, the human cadets charged into the fray, ready to face the Zorgan threat head-on and show the galaxy what true human courage looked like. The battle was joined, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The Deathworlders had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. Deathworlders unleashed. As the human cadets plunged into the heart of the battle against the Zorgans, they quickly realized that all their training, all their preparation, had been leading to this moment. The chaos of combat engulfed them, laser fire crisscrossing the scorched earth, explosions shaking the very ground beneath their feet. But amidst the maelstrom of violence and destruction, the human cadets found a strange sense of clarity and purpose. Their movements became fluid and precise, their minds sharp and focused. They worked together like a well-oiled machine, each one anticipating the needs and actions of the others. To the watching eyes of their alien comrades, it was a sight to behold. The human cadets seemed to dance through the battlefield, their weapons flashing, their tactics unconventional and unpredictable. They used their environment to their advantage, luring Zorgan warriors into traps and ambushes, striking from unexpected angles with devastating effect. One by one, the Zorgan lines began to crumble under the relentless human assault. The beast-like warriors, so used to being the hunters, found themselves becoming the hunted, their advanced weapons and armor suddenly seeming inadequate in the face of this new threat. As word of the humans' exploits spread through the galactic forces, a new energy began to surge through the ranks. The once demoralized soldiers found themselves rallying around this small but indomitable force, drawing strength and inspiration from their courage and tenacity. Under the humans' leadership, the tide of the battle slowly began to turn. The Zorgans, faced with an enemy that refused to yield, that seemed to grow stronger with each setback, began to falter and retreat. But the human cadets knew that the battle was far from over. They had won a foothold, but the Zorgans were still a formidable force, with resources and reinforcements that dwarfed those of the galactic defenders. And so, even as they pushed forward, even as they liberated colony after colony from Zorgan control, the human cadets were already planning their next move. They studied Zorgan tactics and technology, looking for weaknesses to exploit. They forged alliances with local resistance groups, learning from their knowledge of the terrain and the enemy. And all the while, they continued to lead from the front, their presence on the battlefield a beacon of hope and defiance to all who witnessed it. Tales of their exploits spread like wildfire through the galaxy, becoming the stuff of legend and inspiration. On the Galactic Military Academy, those who had once doubted or resented the human cadets now spoke of them with awe and reverence. The once obscure Deathworlders had become the heroes of the hour, their names spoken with the same respect and admiration as the greatest warriors and leaders in galactic history. But for the human cadets themselves, such accolades meant little. They were focused solely on the task at hand, on ending the Zorgan threat once and for all. They knew that the road ahead would be long and hard, that many more challenges and sacrifices lay in store. But they also knew that they would face those challenges together, as a united front. A band of brothers and sisters forged in the heat of battle and tempered by the unbreakable bond of their shared humanity. As the war raged on, as the galaxy watched with bated breath, the Deathworlder Cadets continued to push forward, driven by a fierce determination to protect the innocent, to safeguard the future they believed in. And in the end, through blood and sweat, through courage and sacrifice, they prevailed. The Zorgan threat was broken, their armies scattered, their leaders brought to justice. In the aftermath of the war, as the galaxy began to rebuild and heal, the human cadets found themselves hailed as saviors, as the embodiment of all that was best and brightest in the galactic community. But for them, the greatest reward was the knowledge that they had made a difference, that they had stood tall in the face of impossible odds and emerged victorious, not just for themselves, but for all the countless lives they had touched and inspired along the way. As they stood together, watching the sunrise over a liberated galaxy, the Deathworlder Cadets knew that their journey was far from over. There would always be new challenges to face, new threats to confront. But they also knew that they would face those challenges as they always had, with courage and conviction, with the unshakable belief that as long as they stood together, as long as the human spirit endured, there was no obstacle they could not overcome, no battle they could not win. The legend of the Deathworlder Cadets had been forged in the crucible of war, but it would endure long after the last shot had been fired, a shining beacon of hope and inspiration for generations to come.